Hey, this is indeed Walt from the Comic Book Men, and you're listening to the iWalter Show.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who, disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey everyone, this is Walter, and it's actually Monday afternoon at a little after 1 o'clock, and it is March 20th, 2016. Now, I didn't think I was able to do a show. I'm going to try. I'm cut into my TV time, which I'm not happy about. So, Matt can make a joke out of that. Thank you, Matt, by the way, my friend Matt, music teacher guy, for doing a show with me on Saturday. It's actually been pretty successful for me. So I appreciate that. And for me, it's just more entertaining. For, I think, other people, I hope, having a guest on. And I'm hoping this would probably turn into something maybe on a regular basis on Saturday nights, if he doesn't mind. Matt, if you don't mind. Either way, I mean, that's cool. Because people, I think, would rather listen to me converse with somebody than just me talking by myself. Also, my mother has to go for an MRI today, so I hope that goes good for her. So anyway, I have 2 sound bites. I was going to wait until Tuesday because, after Tuesday night. And it's a short week for us because Tuesdays I go for this hair treatment of this laser surgery, which I can't stand the receptionist, but I have to, I guess, bite my tongue at this point because it seems to be working, I think, a little bit. I just got my hair cut yesterday, and what it does, it at least strengthens your hair follicles that you still have left, and it might even actually regrow a little bit that you might have just recently kind of fell out. The hair that might fell out. So it might restore some of it. It's not guaranteed. But I've noticed my hair being a lot thicker and a little bit more fuller. And the only thing I've changed is doing this hair treatment once a week. So that's tomorrow at 1 o'clock around this time for half an hour. So, I'm going to try to continue that. It's just right this week I'm going to have to put it on a credit card. I don't have the extra money that I normally do, paying some extra bills and things like that. And, hey, for those folks like me who like Supergirl, that'll be on tonight, but I won't watch it until tomorrow night probably when I get home from work. I'll get it off of Apple TV because I've actually ordered that in the past. And it's actually only, I think, 6 more episodes left. I put, actually, for those folks, that did start last week, by the way, is it Daredevil, actually? That one show on Netflix, that actually was up and stuff. I just haven't had a chance to watch. I've been actually watching the old series of Hogan's Heroes. I really enjoy that. It basically made World War II into a farce, but I don't mind that, actually. I'm going to make sure I put that right about Daredevil. I mean, this is, I got to come in lightly with my stories, and it makes it better for me. So anyway, I'm trying to do a show now, and again, I appreciate Matt doing it. It's the last 2 times. I think we're pretty damn good. I should do a look now. But real quick, I'm going to play the full sound bites. I hope she doesn't mind. She actually does a lot better than I do. This young girl seems like she lives at home, but she's very successful, and she basically talks about, for a young kid, she talks about politics. So she talks about it in a very intelligent way. It's like, okay, there's some hope for this younger generation yet. So her name is ShoeOnHead. I don't know why she picked that, but she's pretty well established because I'm looking. She's got over, I would say, well, maybe I'm reading it wrong. It's definitely over 1,000. I'll tell you that much. It's probably more like 100,000. I don't know. I'm guessing at the way to read these numbers. It probably even higher than that. And on her last video, which she had put up, the one I'm going to actually play for people, I'll play the entire thing because, hey, that's pretty cool. For her, let me see. I thought this went up in January. Yeah, it's just posted January 31st, and she's already got like over 100,000 hits. So obviously she's doing a lot better than me, who only gets like 10 or 15 hits, because these podcasts actually go also on YouTube. So let me check my stats real quick, too. And there's another one I want to play, too, so I'm going to be doing that again. The one with Matt and I, but I think I played it a couple times yesterday, so it could be me. But the one I did on Saturday got 27 hits, with the one with me and myself and music teacher guy, which was higher than the one I just did by myself. And the other one I did with Matt, it was up to 35. And the only other one that is remotely higher than that, a lot higher than that, is the story one I actually put Milo Yiannopoulos, or whatever how you say his name, into the mix, into the title. That's actually got 304 hits. So on average, I only get, when I do the shows myself, I get like a half a dozen hits. So I'm basically wasting my time, most likely. So it's a little bit depressing. So, having a guest on definitely does kind of add to the mix. I'm not getting 100,000 hits like the girl who goes by ShoeOnHead, but I'm, hey, when I get 30 hits, that's like it's time for me to party. And I appreciate, because I saw that our friend, Matt's friend, calls it, and I think I will do ShoeOnHead first, because she's really good. Now, that's 10 minutes. The one with Mike, I got to edit, because that's actually, it's an hour show, but it's only like a small segment I'm going to take out of that. So anyway, folks, I hope you enjoy this. I didn't edit the one. ShoeOnHead I actually did, so that's actually going to help. So here we go. I'm going to play ShoeOnHead first in its entirety from January 31st, and I think people will enjoy that. Here we go now.
So we all know BuzzFeed is the internet equivalent of ass cancer. We know this, and I'm pretty sure the website is a government experiment created to test my patience. They're known for hits like, let's get fat women to do poses only fit gymnasts can do, being a woman is hard because compliments, and damage control, the video. So without further ado, I present to you 36 questions feminists have for men.
How does it feel to be the same sex as Donald Trump?
How does it feel to be the same sex as someone I personally politically disagree with? The man is literally Satan to these people. They could have said Hitler. They basically meant Hitler. Trump is their Hitler. It's very trendy to hate Trump right now. I'm pretty left-leaning, but I've been called a Trump supporter like 6 times in the past few months. How does it feel to be the same gender as Trump? How does it feel to be the same gender as, who do you disagree with? Sarah Palin. I feel nothing! Hate yourself because someone I hate has a penis and you too have a penis, therefore relevancy.
Why do you hate rom-coms?
Who?
Why do you make women sit around and talk about men in movies
when y'all easily just sit around and talk about boobs for hours?
Who?
Why do you automatically assume that you won't like TV or movies that star a female lead?
Who are you talking about? Not every man on earth is your ex-boyfriend.
Why are you surprised when women are funny?
Listen, I know many funny women. I know many unfunny men. Men are not naturally funny. Women are not naturally unfunny. It is just a personality trait. There are a lot of theories behind it, and I'll probably go into that in a video I've been planning on doing forever.
I'm probably funnier than you.
You are the girl in your group of friends who calls yourself the funny one, and then when you leave, they all call you the annoying one.
Why do you think that we're obsessed with you when we hook up?
What?
I just want you to leave too. I'm busy. I got shit to do.
Oh, look, everyone! The funny one has shit to do. It's so funny hooking up with men, then making them leave, and possibly toying with their emotions. Oh, you!
Why can't I sleep with as many people as I want to without being judged?
You know the whole key and the keyhole thing? Yeah, no. Do what you want, as long as both parties consent and know that it's just a fuck buddy situation, and as long as you're hurting nobody, you do you. You shouldn't care what others think about your personal life if they're not involved, including me. So, black girl with nose ring, from here on in, on this subject, please cover your ears, because you might hear opinions that you do not like.
When men do it, they're congratulated.
By who? Other sluts? This is like the most repeated, stupid feminist talking point I hear. I don't know any guy that's like, yeah, man, you slept with all those chicks, man, yes, sluts. They're so hard to get. Wow, what an extreme achievement, bro. In my opinion, it's a huge red flag if a man or woman I am interested in has had many partners. That's not cool. Your dick hasn't been in like 20 meat flaps. Your meat flaps has had like 20 dicks in it. That's disgusting. They're contaminated. Get it away from me.
Why do you consider a woman a tease if she doesn't sleep with you after 3 dates, but a slut if she sleeps with you on the first date?
It sounds like you're talking about two different guys now.
In what world does no mean yes?
No means no.
Are they talking about rape now? I was wondering when the inevitable mention of rape would occur.
Why do you think that just because you're nice to me, I owe you my body?
Yeah, nice guy syndrome is fucking embarrassing, I will give you that. Being nice is a basic human trait. It's like expected of all of us. Please develop more personality traits, because romantic attraction has to go both ways. Never mind, this entire video is basically nice girl syndrome. I have a vagina, please cater to me.
Why would you ever send an unsolicited dick pic?
Skeptics, don't listen to this.
Why do you feel like it's okay to harass women?
I feel like these people have never actually talked to a guy in person. Like, their vision of a group of men hanging out is, hello, fellow men, isn't it awesome to harass women? Tits, 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 Donald Trump. No means yes. Who wants to go rape some bitches?
How does it feel to interrupt me when I...
Feels pretty good.
Why do you have to sit with your legs so wide open?
Men have balls.
Get that you have balls, but
No butts. Balls.
I don't stand around with my arms wide open to make room for my boobs.
If their testicles were on their chest, no they wouldn't. But if your boobs were between your legs, yes you would.
Why are women perceived as the weaker sex?
Because on average, we are. It's a fact. Trigger warning. Facts.
We literally birth you.
Our bodies are naturally designed to give birth, so yes, I guess women are better at giving birth than men.
Why is it so bad to show your emotions?
It means you're human.
Why?
The patriarchy shames men about crying and showing their emotions, but we feminists are helping to stop that sexism.
Why the f*** isn't it ladylike to cuss?
No, it's not polite to curse. Once again, gender is irrelevant. No surprise. I curse for comedic purposes, but you will never see me cursing in public or in front of my parents or people like that. Because it's rude and it's trashy. When I see guys walking around cursing for every other word, it's gross. And it's no different for women. I swear to God, feminism has just become these 20-year-old and 30-year-old women bitching and moaning about things only preteen boys and old people say. Like period shaming? I didn't know period shaming was a thing until I dived face first into this dumpster that is third wave feminism. Never in my life has a guy shamed me for having my period. In fact, it's quite the opposite. A lot of guys are usually supportive. For example, Dad, go get me tampons. Dad.
What do you want Daddy for?
Get me tampons?
They're right under the cabinet. Shouldn't you be making me grandbabies by now?
Most guys I knew were supportive because all they know about periods is 1, we're fucking bleeding, 2, we're in severe pain. I forgot what that feels like though. Thank you, birth control. Thank you, feminism.
Why is it your first instinct to doubt women who have been sexually violated or raped?
Oh look! Rape again! They fucking love rape! They can't go like 3 minutes without talking about it. They just... Lots of people are skeptical about rape cases because unfortunately there are many cases of women crying wolf about it. So before you go and get your pitchforks and start a witch hunt, people like to have evidence.
Why do you think women that wear makeup are false advertising? We can say the same thing about your dick size.
I can put eyeliner on my eyes and enhance the color and enhance the shape. But you can't put eyeliner on a dick and make it look bigger. Unless men are contouring their bulge to make it look bigger, this is the worst comparison I've ever heard of my life, of anything ever.
Why isn't it weird that there's a bunch of old white men sitting in a room making legislation about what I can and can't do with my body?
Probably because they got those job positions by being the... You know what? Why am I even... You're not listening. Why am I doing this?
Why are straight guys so obsessed with lesbians?
Wow, this chocolate bar sure is good. But you know what would make it better? Wow! Another chocolate bar! 2 of a thing I like! Together! Besides, according to Pornhub stats, lesbian porn is the #1 viewed porn by women. So women, why are you so obsessed with lesbians?
You ever get tired of trying to be manly all the time?
Says the girl in the baggy-ass plaid shirt and flat-brim hat. Are you kidding me right now?
Why do I deserve to be paid less than you?
The wage gap is simply the average earnings of men and women working full-time. It does not count for different job positions, hours worked, or different jobs. It has nothing to do with the same job. It has nothing to do with discrimination.
What world does 77 cents equal $1?
Canada?
In what world does 68 cents equal $1?
Why is the number changing?
Are you intimidated by a woman who makes more money than you? That's awesome! More money!
I'm sorry, but didn't you guys just finish bitching about men apparently getting paid more than you? So let me get this straight. In a world where women on average earned more, this wouldn't be a problem because more money. God.
Why are opinionated women seen as bitches?
When opinionated men are seen as bosses.
No. Opinionated men are told to stop mansplaining, are mocked, and are even kicked out of conventions for disagreeing with you.
Why aren't you speaking up when you hear your male friends behind closed doors make jokes that are offensive to women?
The funny one doesn't like when you make jokes.
Why are you so afraid of recognizing your own privilege?
Oh my god, privilege checking is like confessing your sins to these people. Check your privilege and say 20 Hail Anitas.
Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Just recognize it and do something about it.
Checking your privilege doesn't make you a bad person. But all these other things in this video do. Including sharing a gender with Donald Trump. How's it feel? How's it feel to share a gender with someone I disagree with? He has a penis, you have a penis too. Hate yourself! I like how 99% of these questions weren't even questions. It was just pushing feminist agenda. There was one legit question that was like, how does it feel to get kicked in the balls? Like, okay, that's the question, but the rest were just like, 77 cents. Like, oh my god. So here's your homework. In the comments, write some questions that you have for feminists. And generalize. Generalize all you want, because this entire video of theirs was generalizations, the video. I'll see you guys next time. Follow me on Twitter. I'm there, like, all the time. Okay, I feel like such a vlogger right now. So I'm done. Okay, bye! Okay, hey, that was ShoeOnHead now. That was one that Matt had actually recommended to me, or AKA... music teacher guy. So Matt, thank you for that. That was ShoeOnHead, and I really enjoyed that. At first, I misunderstood it. I listened to her at first, and I didn't understand quite where she was coming from, and it was my mistake that I misinterpreted what she was trying to say. She's like against feminism, at least the part of feminism that just makes women look like idiots. So I really appreciate that. Anyway, I hope she doesn't mind that I had taken her whole segment, because I didn't ask her permission. I don't think she would mind, especially when she gets over 100,000 hits. I only get like a handful of even that. As Matt was joking about, I'm taking a swallow. Now, why I do that is because people can't see what I do on radio, so I have to kind of tell people, give them a heads up what's going on, so they don't think there's like nothing going on, or that I actually ended my show without letting people know. So anyway, I appreciate that. I hope, again, that ShoeOnHead does not mind. I don't really know her name, or if she actually gives it. That was back in January on the 31st. Now I want to play something. I'm just going to say Mike C, because I can't say his last name properly. Another one that Matt actually had introduced me to. He sent me a thing. He was talking about Trump. Now, the thing is, this one with Mike C is actually, he's kind of saying why you don't want to vote for Trump, what the problem's going to run into. So I'm just going to play that one. I'm putting that in right now. That's not as long. The one with ShoeOnHead was actually, I think, about 10 minutes long. This one, I think, is about 6 minutes. It's still long, but I'm actually doing this before work once again, and my time is going to be running really close because I got to get packing and out the door for another night of another nightmare night. So anyway, I'm going to play Mike C right now. You'll hear his proper name on here. I'm just going to keep it to Mike C. So I hope you enjoy that just as much. So here we go with Mike C.
All right, so as you guys know, I've spent a lot of time on the Rubin Report talking about the current status of the left. As I've said many times, I believe the regressive left, the group of people who use illiberal tactics to silence those defending liberal principles, to be the left's version of the Tea Party. If we don't rein them in now, then the left in America will end up as fractured as the right. Evidence of the fractured right is everywhere, with basically every mainstream conservative actively trying to stop the party's frontrunner, Donald Trump. Has there ever been a time when a frontrunner on either side was so hated by his own party's establishment? Not that I know of. And interestingly, this mess is actually of the GOP's own doing. They didn't see the rise of the Tea Party until it was too late, which set the GOP establishment against their own base. Ironically, had the Tea Partiers been willing to negotiate with anyone, perhaps the Republican Party would be in a better state than the ideological mess it's in right now. That didn't happen, though, and when you couple a fractured right with the rise of the regressive left, who refuse to talk honestly about issues like Islamic extremism and immigration, we now have the rise of Donald Trump. Before I continue, let me say a couple positive things about Donald Trump, believe it or not. I probably should have issued a trigger warning there, but get in your safe space. Here we go. All right. He has absolutely exposed our robotic politicians who are bought and sold by campaign contributors, openly mocking Hillary Clinton for showing up to his wedding because he gave her a donation. In many ways, his message of a broken system corrupted by money is exactly the same thing that Bernie Sanders is saying. Trump has also talked about America's awful trade deals with China and Mexico and promised to negotiate better ones. And actually, there's every reason to believe that he would be good at this. After all, making deals is what he has built his empire on. People actually attack Trump for having his Trump brand ties made in Mexico, but that actually proves his point about our bad trade deals. He's making things to sell where cost is cheap and profit will be maximum. As an American businessman, he's doing what's best for his business by making ties in Mexico. It's not the fault of the businessman who uses the system. That's the fault of the politicians who set up the bad deals which enable it. Trump has also brought the issue of immigration to the front and center of the debate. He says he'll build a wall and have Mexico pay for it. While I think that Mexico actually may end up building the wall and paying for it to keep Americans out if he becomes president, he makes a serious populist point with the wall. Trump always says we either have a country or we don't. A wall in and of itself isn't racist. It may not be wise and it may not address the real problems, but when he talks in simple language like that, he scores points with many voters. Having a secure border shouldn't be a partisan issue, but because of our politically correct climate, it's become one. You can be for better border security and still not be a bigot. That shouldn't be too hard to understand. Finally, he has also scored points with many people when talking about the spread of Islamic extremism. While Trump never takes the time to make the distinction between Islamic extremism and the average Muslim person, he scores points by even talking about Islamic extremism in the first place because the left in this country refuses to do so. This failure on the left to tackle the topic of Islamic extremism honestly by linking doctrine with action actually helps feed those like Trump who come in with easy answers with no nuance or real understanding. Trump sees an opening for an easy answer here, like banning all Muslims from entry to the country, and he runs with it. Turn on any cable news channel to see the list of bad things about Donald Trump. We've heard them all before, so I'm actually going to take a different road here. Let's talk about what the real threat of a Donald Trump presidency is. Donald Trump is a businessman making business decisions, but he's also a reality TV host winning the world's biggest reality TV show. Over the course of his presidential campaign, Trump has made it clear that he will say anything, literally anything, just to be elected. He uses the media's need for clicks and views to fuel his rise, knowing full well the more outlandish his statements are and the more clownish he acts, the more free TV time he's going to get. He has mastered the age-old adage, any publicity is good publicity. People like Trump for his lack of political correctness, but it's not what he says that they're responding to. It's just that he's saying nothing and everything at the same time without sounding like a career politician. Is he really against gay marriage now, even though he used to be for it? Is he really against abortion now, even though he used to be pro-choice? I have no idea what's in his heart, but I do know what's in his head. He wants to be the contestant who doesn't get fired on the season finale. Many people in this country want to feel like America is winning again, and Trump has wisely used this notion to fuel his campaign. But the question is, what does electing Trump actually mean? If he wins, does anyone think he'll actually adhere to the Constitution? Will he care about due process or respect the three branches of government? Will he sue reporters who investigate the White House? Will we get into a war over a mistaken retweet? His gruff language and loose use of facts are only the micro problem here. The macro problem is that nobody really knows what this guy stands for other than winning. And that's the real risk of a Trump presidency. We have no idea what the country will look like after we elect someone who cares more about his own rules than the law of the land. You know, he says Starbucks will put Merry Christmas back on cups when he's president. Does he know that the president doesn't get to decide what a private company does with their products? As a businessman, yeah, he does know, but as a presidential candidate, he doesn't care. If winning at all costs for a temporary feel-good moment is good enough for you, then by all means you should vote for Donald Trump. But don't be fooled. You're being sold a bill of goods by someone who only cares about making the deal. When the product sucks, don't expect to get a refund.
Okay, folks, so that was Mike C. on his opinion about Donald Trump. I still kind of stick with Donald Trump. I know a lot of people probably disagree with me for doing so, but I'm going to stick with the man as long as I can until, voting day probably. So anyway, we have until next month to make our decision anyhow. But one thing I wanted to mention, there was a couple things. I just kind of looked at them really quickly because it is Monday morning or afternoon. I have like less than a half an hour to get ready for work probably, or start getting ready for work. So anyway, this one friend posted, Todd, which he's still not responding back. I left him like about a dozen messages yesterday, and all he actually responded to was a text message. I bumped into one of his friends, and he left me 4 messages about this friend, which I left in a text. He didn't answer anything else. So, and then, anything that other than that was just about himself. So, I mean, no offense about that. I hate to pick on him like I've been the last couple shows, my friend Todd, but, hey, he makes a great guest host, too. Don't get me wrong. And, I heard him. He said he actually was able to get a job where he used to work, close to his parents, which would be great because his parents have some problem, or at least his dad does. So, I mean, hey, that's all well, and, and I understand that. I feel, I'm not that heartless, but it's kind of nice for people to reciprocate when you try to respond to them, or even when you're having problems. But he seems to keep it very low, and then he says he wears his heart on his sleeve, and I kind of have to laugh when he mentioned that in the past. But he does send some really good stories. I give him credit for that. And he actually found one before I did. He always does find a lot of good stories. This was on Fox News Insider, and it's been posted over and over again now, which is kind of funny. And it's titled, Outrageous, Florida Man Raids Car Dealership After Trying to Buy a BMW with Food Stamps. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up first was because I'll complain about this stuff and saying how these people, these welfare recipients, are like given everything, even brand new cars. And here you go. I mean, I think a lot of them are. Definitely. I mean, there was that story about a guy who was like pretty much an illegal immigrant. And he went out to test drive a car, and he ended up killing the car dealer because, nobody wants to discriminate. Everybody's afraid. Now, they have a mugshot of the guy, and I'll leave it at that. But it says the Florida man is stoking confusion after he tried confusion, I guess is what it is, after he tried to buy a $60,000 BMW with his credit card and EBT card. And apparently he wouldn't take no for an answer. So, I mean, this is the problem. Nowadays, people are too afraid to say, okay, what I've seen, and now it's just like proof. They won't turn anybody down, especially if the person might be a possible minority or somebody who is not well off with money financially. They're not going to turn them down because they're afraid of being hit with discrimination charges of some sort. So we now have a bunch of infantile people in our society, a large amount of them are like that, where they're just going to take a fit if they don't get what they want. They now believe they should get whatever they want. Like it's that age bracket of a 2-year-old. That's what our society is made up of nowadays. Now, it's not a very long article because I'm going to kind of glance through a little bit more. It says authorities say the perplexed managers at an auto dealership in Hamito Beach declined the 36-year-old Nicholas Jackson's business when he offered to pay with food stamps. But it didn't stop that. It didn't stop at that because Jackson appeared to determined to have the B&W one way or another. The Martin County Sheriff's Office said in the release, a release of information, basically. The next day, the man allegedly broke into the dealership and stole the car, along with the keys to as many as 60 other vehicles. So, I mean, I've seen this. I saw this yesterday. Well, I didn't see this firsthand. I'm not saying I did, but I'm just saying the other day I was driving and I've seen, there's this place called Car Vision around our house. It's basically it was a dumpy place down in Norristown that now all of a sudden had moved up around here about a year or two ago. And the funny thing about that is it's basically it's like one of those shady dealerships. I almost bought a car off of there because they do sometimes have nice cars. But the people who buy cars there are people that basically are unemployed, probably even unemployable, and are very shady people that actually even buy the cars from there. So in front of me yesterday, of all things, it was actually kind of entertaining, but there was a car in front of me where the car looked like it was probably not even paid for yet, but it was already demolished. It was messed up. It had one of these Car Vision, I think it's called Car Vision, sticker tags on the car. And before the car was even paid for, they've already severely had damaged the car beyond belief. It was a white Honda or something, where they actually had metal, or not metal, it's like metal wire or something. I've seen it before, because at first I almost thought it was fish wire, holding up the tailpipe from falling off. Like they damaged the car beyond belief. They probably haven't even paid it off yet. But at this point, Car Vision's going to be screwed because, let me see if I can find Car Vision and make sure it's the proper name. I think it is. But I don't trust the place. Again, I think it's a shady dealer. They don't even offer you any type of insurance. Yeah, it is called Car Vision. You can go to carvision.com. And they may have some nice cars, but these are probably cars that people couldn't afford to pay for. Because I'm looking at the place, and they have Audis, because they actually have the inside of the place. They have an Audi in there, a Volkswagen Beetle convertible. I mean, they have all types of cars, but these are probably cars that people just can't afford to pay for, lost their lease or lost their the cost of the car. So Car Vision picks these cars up probably off these sales where people basically get their cars impounded and they pick them up and they sell them. That's what I'm guessing. So anyway, this person basically obviously did not pay for the car in full, already crapped out the car. It probably was a decent car at one point, but who's going to want it now? Because they got some type of wire. It's almost like, have you ever seen that stuff that you basically, I want to call it flux or something, solder. You know those spools of solder wire? That's what it looked like. Wrapped around the tailpipe. Hopefully it's not solder wire because it's got a very low heat temperature melting point. It melts fairly quickly because that's why solder is designed the way it is. It's easy to melt with a little heat. So if they put that on the tailpipe, it's not going to take much for that wire to basically melt off. I don't know. That's what it looked like to me. So the top it off, they obviously also made sure to get all of the windows on the car entirely blacked out, completely with that over the limit you're supposed to have a tint all the way through the car. So I couldn't even count on two hands the amount of cars I've also seen yesterday that were very expensive, brand new BMWs, Audis, and stuff with completely blacked out windows, and the cars were all ghettoed and decked out around here. So I complain about that all the time. I said the people who buy these cars are people who don't even have jobs. You probably remember me even saying this. So, now this guy didn't end up with a car for very long, but how many of these people would you like to make a wager on who don't have jobs and are actually driving around in these cars, and they put more money into making the cars look ghettoed out and having the over-tinted windows that are blacked out. I could probably win every time on those cases when you see those cars, and I see a lot of them. Now, yesterday, the one friend of my friend Todd, who actually introduced himself, said, hey, it was cool to meet him. It doesn't hurt to say his name. His name is Jerry. Was a really nice man, but I felt bad for him. Now, Todd left me 4 messages about this guy. Nothing about me or what else I said. He just what I had texted him. So he obviously cares less what I have to talk about. It's without a doubt my friend Todd. So, because he didn't even answer back when I said, "Listen, I'm going to be busy next week, and it's Easter." He didn't say anything. It was like a flatliner. But the friend Jerry, he says, "Oh, he worked, I think, for Sears for many years," and I felt really bad too. Really smart man, like really mechanically inclined. I think he said he was like a really good mechanic, or he's good with his hands. He worked for Sears doing like different mechanical work. And now he's laid off, and the guy's younger than my friend Todd and I. And he's got a wife, and if it's the wife that I think it is, the one that always him and her always invite me over their house. They have a house down in Cape May. Very nice people, but he's unemployed. He can't find a job anywhere, apparently. And it's just like the going rate right now that if you're a white male, I've said this before, you can't find a job, anywhere. Now, my friend Matt, music teacher guy, thank God he's in for himself. He's self-employed. He has a business, so he's doing well. Me, if I go on strike next month, at the end of next month, beginning of May, if we go out on strike, I'm really fucked because who's going to want to hire me? I'm actually technically 50, even though I'm like 49 and some change. But technically I'm in that 50 mark that nobody wants to hire anybody at the age of 50. Or, pushing 50. So it's going to be really difficult for me to look for anything. I had a hard time looking for work just remotely. I was kind of just keeping my eyes open, see if anything would appeal to me. But there isn't, unless I want to go for one of these really low-wage jobs, basically pushing carts or something. That's the best I'm going to do, and I'm going to be getting paid probably 1/4, not even an eighth of what I get now when I sat on my ass, from work. And I hate to be that way, but that's, I have bills to pay still. So anyway, there is that. I just had to push in that story real quick. That's one of the reasons I'm kind of pushing for, today, which I'm running out of time now. But anyway, I just saw this just today, just like a few minutes ago. It was from Montgomeryville Lansdale Patch. And this was pretty entertaining to say the least, but it says 250,000 gallons of sewage spilled into the Schuylkill River, reports had stated. In case you missed it, it was established that, again, that was untreated sewage spilled into the Schuylkill River. So we're kind of fucked that way. We have our drinking water now has been contaminated with raw sewage. Probably mostly from me taking these diuretics and stuff is making up most of that sewage anyway. But anyway, it says in Pottstown, PA, again, that amount of sewage was spilled into the Schuylkill River February 24th after the sewage system was flooded by a severe rainstorm. So this was back in February 24th, and they're actually finally posting it now. I don't know why they waited so long. But the Pottstown wastewater treatment plant was overwhelmed by the intense rainfall, which caused local flooding, according to the report. So the plant is designed to handle a maximum of 15 million gallons of sewage per day, reports state. See, this is another problem we have, by the way. They're building more and more homes around us. They're literally taking a small piece of land around here, any given place, and they're putting an average of about 2 homes on a property that was basically somebody's backyard just to put 2 more homes. Well, what's that mean with the sewage problem? Well, it is a sewage problem, because my dad mentioned this. The problem is you're adding more people to the sewage line, which is it's making it harder, amongst other things, like our water lines, our sewage lines, electrical lines, are now powering more homes than what was actually, more than what these areas can actually handle on the pipelines and, for sewage and water, and also for electricity. So we're overdrawn by putting more homes, which somehow these people are buying these homes. I don't know why. Most of the time, they're probably people from out of state, like New York, who find it more affordable to live around here, but also then you're getting a different class of people, a different mind frame of people. But the bottom line is it's creating more problems too, more havoc, because you got more people that are living in it's becoming quickly, or it has been for a while now, overcrowded, like more overcrowded than it's over its max of how many people should be living in this area. And that's why we have the problems with the traffic, why we have an increase, I think, of domestic violence, and also issues with other sources for our energy and for our sewage system. But all it is how they can put more money into their pockets, these contractors around here. They don't really care how they're destroying the ecosystem, and I'm using that right around here. And, it's a way to make a quick buck, but then we gotta suffer. For somebody like me who's lived here for the past 50 years, we gotta even suffer more with this kind of stupidity. So anyway, I'm gonna go through some stories. By the way, this was kind of interesting. I don't think I'm gonna probably go. I wouldn't mind, because this is one of the first bands I've heard. It was called the Go-Go's. I'm just gonna jump right into it. They're playing down, it's called the Fillmore in Philadelphia, someplace called the Fillmore. I have no clue where it is. They were playing on Thursday at 8:30 p.m., I think not until August 11th. Okay, there it is right now. No clue where it is. I wouldn't mind seeing it, because I forget the one girl who lost a lot of weight, who was originally still in the band, Belinda something. My brother, my brother was still at home, my middle brother who moved to Washington, one of the bands that he used to, the first vinyl I ever saw him buy besides Supertramp and Adam Ant was the Go-Go's. So, hey, that'd be really good to go see, but I don't know, I have a month off on vacation time until the end of the year. I have a week's worth of personal time. It's not like I have enough time. Now, I have to save for some of that for the end of the year anyway when we have a shutdown. If we do this year, if we're not out on the street, I don't know yet. But, and plus it just gets costly. And, my friend Matt even said you want to do more than just go to concerts and day trips or get people's, for a costly money, a lot of money, to go see people who are only going to spend less than 30 seconds with you. Yeah, it's true, too. You want to do something a little bit more rewarding, but sometimes it's fun to do this stuff, too. Anyway, some guy put up, his name's Billy Corbin. He put up an interesting story. So I'm looking at it right now. It says Miami Dade Transit Metro over supervisor allegedly rapes woman trying to get home after Ultra Music Festival while she defecates on herself. Now, that's pretty weird. Yeah, Metro Mover supervisor accused of raping woman after Ultra Music Festival. It's kind of weird, but it does say defecate. Miami-Dade. It looks like Dad, but it says Dade because there's an E on the end. Metro Mover supervisor was arrested on Sunday afternoon after he raped a 25-year-old woman after she had left the Ultra Music Festival, police said. But again, it says while she defecates on herself. How do you defecate on yourself? Well, I guess you shit yourself, right? So that's kind of interesting. That was in Miami. God, there's always these interesting stories. There's one story, a guy got arrested for masturbating on the metro train or something. I'll have to look for that one. There was one from Opposing Views. I'm going through these really quickly because I got the main stuff done. It's going on 2 o'clock, and I got to get ready by 2:30. Opposing Views, the mother didn't feed her starving baby because she had more important use for the milk. Should she be locked away for good? Mother decides it'd be better use a better use for her breast milk than feeding it to her starving baby. But before I even get into that, though, there's another story where there's some synthetic type of marijuana going around, which is really kind of bothering me, by the way, because it's creating a lot of problems where these people are getting so doped up on this. Did I say it's not medical? Because there is medical marijuana, but it's synthetic marijuana. I have to look for that story, too, where people are just like walking around like zombies. It's turning people into like living zombies, so to speak. They refer to them like it looks like a scene from the TV show called The Walking Dead, and it's causing the cops. It's occupying a majority of the police officers' time that they don't have time to actually investigate crimes now because they're too busy chasing these people down, and they're mostly like homeless and people that just are without jobs that are using this synthetic marijuana. Now, this brings to attention what I said the other day with the legalization of marijuana in this state. Well, I said before, now this is different in some ways, that it's going to create a lot of people that are going to just get a doctor's notice to get this marijuana from their doctor, legally. But it's going to be from probably low-income people, basically drug addicts. They'll find a way around getting, or they're just going to steal it. And I said, this is going to be a big problem. Well, you already have a problem with this synthetic marijuana causing a lot of problems. Imagine when the legal marijuana comes around into the stores that you could actually pick it up. You're going to have higher robberies for one thing. If not, you're going to have these lowlifes basically getting doctor's notes or even forging doctor's notes just to pick up from the pharmacy counter some legalized marijuana is my assumption. So I'm just really worried about that. So I'm going to open up this story now from Opposing Views, see what it has to say. It says an Oregon couple involved in online pornography was arrested on Tuesday after their 7-week-old baby died of starvation. It says Stephen Michael Williams Jr. and Amanda Marie Hancock were involved in lactation porn, which allegedly involved Hancock self-lactating. So maybe that's... See, I get that wrong. Stephen self-lactating while others paid to watch. The couple claimed... Yeah. The couple claimed they fed their child in a probable cause of... affidavit followed by deputies, but never took him to a doctor despite the signs he was losing weight. So this woman was basically, why didn't they just buy the kid milk otherwise too? They probably had no money, but yeah, the kid died of starvation, and they're saying it was because she wasn't breastfeeding the kid; she was using the breast milk for pornography. This couple. And they weren't even married by the sounds of it because they have two different last names. Cutting down the chase, it says an ambulance was originally called to treat the infant's distress, though efforts to revive the child was unnecessary. The autopsy performed on the child revealed that he had died of starvation. So that's pretty interesting, that story. It's pretty disgusting, but it's interesting at the same time. Now, I'm reading a lot of this stuff, and I'm looking at the one from Fox News about some off-duty New Jersey cop found shot dead. So I assumed it was an act of violence against criminals, but I think it was the cop that actually was causing the shootings. He killed 2 people, if I remember correctly. Let me see what it says right now. An off-duty Sayreville, New Jersey police officer was found dead in his personal vehicle near a former movie theater complex Monday morning. But there was one I did read where it's kind of strange, where was a security guard, actually, I think it was. Maybe it was a cop that actually was causing the violence for a change. Maybe they were actually starting to lose their cool with everything going on. So it says James O'Neill said the department began investigating on about 7:15 a.m. after being alerted to a report of a body outside a Amboy cinema. I've never heard of it. Among arrival investigations, discovered a black Dodge with shattered windows on its passenger side door with the officer inside. This might be actually a different one then. I didn't realize this. But there was one where there was a shooting actually from what I would consider the good guys. It was actually a retired police officer, I think, or a retired something, that he actually shot 2 people. But I'll have to look for that if I can find it in this segment. It states that we have been alerted in a report of a body located near a former movie theater in Sayreville, it looks like. The Middlesex County Prosecutor Office is investigating with the cooperation of Sayreville Police Department. There will be no further comment at this time. So this one is different. This cop was actually shot, and he was not a retired police officer. So I have to look for the other one then. Anyway, there was something interesting. They titled it was PIX11. Joni loves Chachi. Actor Scott Baio is now endorsing Donald Trump. I don't have a problem with that. So, yeah, that's another one. Yeah, there's 2 stories. I posted it twice, probably 3-4 times, who knows, about this cop getting killed in New Jersey. So that's pretty kind of scary. Now, I saw this from Douglas Giles. He actually posted this. I don't know where he got it from. Defeat Hillary and the Democratic Socialists. There was a story that says, I swear I'm not making this stuff up. I guess this guy Douglas finding these stories. Check this out on this Religion of Peace, the latest, kind of endorsement or whatever, or some type of complaint, whatever. It says tennis school bans girls with big boobs because bouncing hooters offend Muslims. Actually, it was from ClashDaily.com. This is actually for real. So, yeah, it says one of the schools hit by the so-called Trojan horse Islam Nation plot were female pupils who were reportedly barred from playing tennis with male teachers who has been named in an official UK school of tennis. And the reason is the Muslims find it very offensive with big-breasted girls being able to play tennis because, and it's kind of a funny picture. They showed this really huge, big-breasted girl playing tennis. She might even be a real tennis player with this Muslim guy next to her, like it's a cut picture, and he's like outraged by, they're trying to make it look like he's outraged by her big breast. So, I mean, this is just, this has gotten so out of control with being politically correct and everything. It's just, I don't know what else to say. It's just, it's crazy, to say the least. Anyway, this is a funny video if you want to see it. I think it's kind of hilarious. And just expressions on these people's faces. This was some World Star. Actually, Bubba the Love Sponge put this up. It's actually pretty scary, too, where this girl sets her crotch on fire, this black girl. And just the reaction from the audience members, I think she was like dancing this hip-hop music. And it says, ouch, woman burns her vagina during a dance hall competition. And she literally burned the skin off her crotch because they showed a side. She has shorts on. So I kind of feel bad at the same time for this woman. But I don't know what she was doing to actually have that happen. But it's actually both entertaining and kind of like scary for this woman. So anyway, there was that. And Christopher Morbid Lee, I didn't have these stories from when Matt was here, but I do have them now. Tasha Hatcher accused of sticking a 2-year-old daughter in a hot oven. So there's many jokes you could make about that. And I know my friend Todd would, because we always make the jokes about the Nazis sticking Jews in the oven, which is not funny at all. But this one's for real. This woman actually stuck her kid in the oven. March 21st, 2016, in Glen Rose, Texas, police have arrested a 35-year-old Tasha Hatcher after she seriously burned her 2-year-old daughter by sticking her inside a hot oven. So this woman, it says, is currently being held on $300,000 bond. That's the highest a woman has ever gotten. So that's kind of interesting at the same time. I have a story again on spoilers for a Daredevil, because I mentioned that earlier for Season 2. 10 awesome Easter eggs you may have missed. I haven't watched yet. You can find that on comicbookmovie.com, by the way. Like Season 1 before it, Daredevil's second year was crammed full of awesome Easter eggs, which both paid homage to the comic books and the larger Marvel universe, probably is what it's trying to say. And, of course, there's all these stories about the anti-Trump protester, April Foster, charged with hitting police horse in Kansas City. I mean, this is just out of control, these protesters against Trump. When is it going to stop? So, and there's a spoiler, too, on CBS.com if you're interested. I didn't read it because I don't want to ruin it for myself for something happened on Supergirl tonight, so because it is back. Now, here's an interesting story I did read, by the way. It was from Drudge Report. I found it on Facebook's Drudge Report. Largest U.S. refinery now belongs to Saudi Arabia, so that's kind of weird. Not surprising. And they're showing a picture of Shell, so I'm assuming that's what they're talking about. Royal Dutch Shell and Saudi Aramco or something appear to be getting a divorce, breaking up the joint venture U.S.-based refinery assets. The two companies joined together to create Motive Enterprise LLC in 1988, a 50-50 joint venture that Shell and Saudi Aramco, and it's probably Amoco, because I've heard of Amoco, but it's Armaco, have been there, seen their interest head in different directions. It is now time for the partners to pursue their independent downstream goals. So apparently, I guess Shell was maybe they are. It says in the title, largest U.S. refinery now belongs to Saudi Arabia, but now they're saying they're actually separating. Saudi Arabia is going to have their own, basically, oil refineries or whatever, which was once merged with basically Shell. So they're actually separated. So that's kind of interesting. Hey, by the way, for people, I didn't buy my ticket yet. I'm going to hold off because I don't know what's happening on June 25th, a Saturday at that Colonial Theater in Phoenixville. They are to be once again this year be showing Jaws. Now, it's Saturday. They didn't sell out yet. I am interested in getting a ticket because Jaws is my all-time favorite movie. But, yeah, so I'm going to wait because I don't know what's actually going on with my job either. That's kind of why I'm holding out. It would be safe to buy a ticket either way. So anyway, I remember Matt had me read this the other day, so I don't know if this is the same story or a different one, with somebody with a machete, welded man slashes 3 people outside a Queens restaurant, is what it's titled from PIX11. Matt had me read this story, but I think this might be actually another one with another person with a machete. So this is out of control, too. Jackson Heights, Queens, police say a man welding a machete slashed 3 men outside a Queens restaurant. The violence before dawn Sunday followed an argument at a restaurant at 104-22 Northern Boulevard. Police say a 32-year-old man suffered cuts to his head and back, a 20-year-old man to his wrist, and a third 23-year-old victim was slashed on his head and hand. The 3 were taken into New York Presbyterian Hospital in Queens and listed in stable condition. The 24-year-old suspect is at large. So this is actually a different one. Another, what is it with these machetes now? So I'm going through these really quickly because I actually am running out of time. Another story from PIX11. U.S. Marine was killed in a rocket attack by ISIS in Iraq. Has been identified as Sergeant Lewis F. Cardin from California. So man who died in ISIS, this man has been identified, and he was from California. So I regret to say we lost a soldier there. So anyway, in this war continue with ISIS. So another story was from PIX11. Police are searching for a man they say climbed through an air vent of the Bronx Deli and robbed it. The man climbed through the vent again. In the Bronx Deli, steal cigarettes and lottery tickets. So you can read that one. I'm going through these so quickly at this point because it is getting late as I speak. I want to get to the main story. There was a story from Drudge Report again. Paper, FBI boss, increasingly certain she broke the law. And this is referring to Hillary Clinton. Will she get charged or what? FBI Chief James Comrie and investigators are increasingly certain presidential nominee Hillary Clinton violated laws in the handling classified government information through her private email server. I've mentioned this a million times. I just don't mention it the correct way. That was on the New York Post, by the way. I'm going to leave it with this last story. Actually, there's a couple. Well, this story. Now, this one is interesting. It looks like some girl in a sports bra and spandex pants, because I love to talk about that. But all these people it was on Fox 29 yesterday at noontime. Investigators describe a scene out of The Walking Dead. People slumped over in such a stupefied state that they could hardly move or speak. They later found out that they were all on dangerous substance. This is the one I was telling you about, this basically man-made or whatever synthetic pot that is basically making people into zombies, and it's basically causing the police a lot of problems because they're spending more of their time cleaning up these people off the streets. So yeah, it's called spice or synthetic marijuana, and people are overdosing on this stuff, and it doesn't take much to do so. So this was on Fox 13, Clearwater Spice Academic. So I don't know where Clearwater is, around Crest Lake Park, and homeless people are spend their time, say, basically taking this substance, and it doesn't take much to overdose on it, so to speak. Again, if you want to read that, because my time is limited, tonight I'm not going to be able to do anything, Fox 29. This was an interesting story from PIX11. That's why I was going to leave it with the last one I just read. But I forgot about this one, about this little boy, 11-year-old kid, who couldn't wake up his parents. Apparently they were both dead. I don't know the whole story about this. Police say an 11-year-old called 911 Saturday morning when they couldn't wake up his mom or dad. Tragically, when the officers arrived, both the boy's parents were dead. So I'm not sure. That was in Bergenfield, New Jersey. So, again, if you want to read the rest of that story, look at PIX11 and look for this story. If I could get to the gist of this, I would definitely let you know. No. Well, they're not married either. The woman has been identified as Annette. It looks like Torrance, or it's not Torrance, but it looks like Taurus. And the man was identified as Mark Morris, so it doesn't sound like they were married. Police believe Morris died from a self-inflicted wound to her head. I'm not even sure. Prosecutors said police are investigating the incident as a domestic violence-based murder-suicide case. It is not clear what sparked the incident. So this kid now has no parents. Okay, well, the mother actually had said worked at a nearby Dollar Tree, and also had a 17-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. So this was a single mother, not even a husband. I don't know. They said that her husband had three daughters from a former marriage, but they're giving them different last names. I don't understand that. I guess you can keep your maiden name if you want to. More to that story. I'm not doing a very good job. It's just, again, time is the problem. Oh, yesterday and today they were getting people so worked up about this snow that we were supposed to have. New York, I guess, must have gotten hit. Because in PIX11, which is probably New Jersey, New York, said an alternate side parking has been suspended as light snow began to fall and continues into Monday morning in New York City. So they basically suspended anybody allowing them to park on the streets in New York, because it says alternate side parking regulation suspended Monday. Not alternate. I said alternate. I meant alternate. Anyway, the story I read, I'm not going to read it into large grave detail, was on PIX11. About the guy who was caught masturbating on the train. Do you recognize him? They got a mug shot of him. They got a picture of this guy, Caucasian. Police say the man allegedly masturbated while staring at a woman on a Manhattan-bound R train. So people are asking, I guess police probably, authorities are asking, the 33-year-old victim told police the suspect put his hands down his pants, began masturbating while staring at her. So I never could do that. I'm sorry. I mean, I've seen some women that I found very attractive, but I could not just do it right then and there and start masturbating in front of them. I wouldn't see the point. I'd be too embarrassed, too. So anyway, and there's another one, too. I forgot about this. It was kind of interesting. The only reason I posted, some girl, she's got a ton of tattoos. She's kind of cute looking if she didn't have those. And a nose ring, but it says the 23-year-old takes a selfie in a bikini, zoom in closer, and you won't believe believe your eyes. Now, this was on Rain Epic Pics Only or something like that. So the reason was because they do a kind of tight shot, and the girl's got a decent body. Well, the whole gist was she has no legs. So it was kind of interesting for that fact. It's let's see what it says. Yeah, it's something like that. You'll find it on my Facebook page if you actually want to go there. 23-year-old takes selfie. Let's see, because usually I give you a little caption underneath. Kana spent 5 early years of her life. I'm sorry for messing up her name. I apologize. In an orphanage before being adopted and brought to the United States. She now works as a successful underwear model. What makes her so unique is that she was born without legs. So it was even that they weren't amputated. She was never born with legs. She's a very attractive young lady, but yeah, she was born with no legs. So that was kind of interesting. So other than that, I probably will leave it go. Oh, well, actually, I'm not going to go in this, but there was a story that was actually kind of entertaining from Alan West. It says, look what the Queen refuses to do when Obama is in the UK. Barack Obama consistently embarrasses America on the world's stage. Queen Elizabeth has given the president a taste of his own medicine. I don't think she wants to meet with him, what I gathered. So I'm not going to go into that too far. So there was that. PIX11 again. A mother has been arrested after okay. It's the same story again, so I apologize about the woman sticking her child into the oven. Let's see. PIX11. I got a lot of stories this time from PIX11. The body of a man accused of stabbing a 62-year-old man to death in January was found floating in the Hudson River, police say. So you kind of can call that karma. This man was up for killing a 62-year-old man, and now he was found dead himself. Suspect in a fatal stabbing of a homeless shelter. Fatal stabbing at a homeless shelter, found dead in the Hudson River once again. Harlem, the man was accused of stabbing a 62-year-old man to death, again in a homeless shelter, late January, was found dead himself on Wednesday. So there's nothing like karma, though, I'll tell you that much. Going to go through these really quick because the time is just flying by. Voters back Trump's Mexico wall, oppose anchor babies, and Radex News. America, it's actually from a place called America's Conservative Voice. A majority of Americans say children born to illegal immigrants should not automatically become U.S. citizens. And what do you think? So these people, which I would agree with this, agree with the wall going up that Trump wants to build. But actually, I don't know how far he's going to go with that personally. So let's see. Another story. I'm trying to go through these. PIX11, the veteran woke up to find a horrible message etched into his truck. And I only want to put to... I didn't even put it together what the word meant at first, but then it all just hit me like a wave, it said. And it actually, somebody put on this, like, etched it into the metal of his paint. Murderer. Etched into the veteran's truck. It says Henderson NV. Is that Nevada? A local veteran believes he was a victim of hate crime after an incident took place Thursday morning. Levito Watts, an Iraq war veteran, awoke to find these words on his truck, and they have a picture of the truck. So there was that. There was an interesting story for those who like the amusing stories. Someone was accused of setting her boyfriend on fire while he was sleeping. I might have read this one before. There's so many stories, and the woman looks kind of hideous. They have a mugshot of this lady. Now, another one that was kind of cool, well, not really, was from Dennis Prager, because I haven't mentioned him, actually, I don't think that much. And it's titled, or he actually is quoted by saying, I want to try it. CEO Putzer told Business Insider he's looking at something where you order on a kiosk, you pay with a credit or debit card, you order. So, but bottom line is, this whole thing is about forcing people, these companies like this place. Again, did I mention the name Carl's Jr.? Because I don't think they have any around us. It's like equivalent to McDonald's. They can't afford to pay $15 minimum wage, so what they're going to do is put more kiosks in for people to order their own food. Overregulation, Carl's Jr. and Hardee's CEO, so it's actually owned by Hardee's. Andy Pulitzer has people all in a huff over the ideal of automated restaurants. That's because of the $15 an hour, though. I got something from real quick because I want to end this. Actually, God, there's so many stories I could have read, folks. But this one is actually the Morning Call. ESU professor, I don't know what this vibrant genius encountered last month that proved so inusable or something like that ending his own life seemed the way to move forward. So this guy, apparently, this professor committed suicide. I know his loss is a massive tragedy we cannot forget. Bill Brown, his loss is a massive tragedy again. So his name was Bill Brown, but it's not spelled the way you would think it was. It's Broun. Apparently committed suicide. It's a professor. So, hey, I'm sorry to hear that. I can't read the whole story because of my time constraints right now. I have a lot of interesting stories, though, I can mention on Facebook. One that was actually pretty entertaining, to say the least, was chicksontheright.com. Stalker attempts to rob a woman, but he sure wasn't expecting this. And I did read this a little bit. Apparently the woman had a gun, so thank God for that. And she was able to take care of the situation herself. So this guy who tried to attack this woman was in for a rude awakening. It says, stalker attempts to rob a woman. She pulls out a gun out of her purse and shoots him. So good for her. You know, I don't have any problem with people in self-defense. I mean, that was very smart of her. I'll say that. So anyway, I can go on forever on stories because I do got a lot of them, but it is 2:30, so I got to stop and kind of edit this together before I go to work. So thanks, everyone, for listening to me. I hope you enjoy my show. And if you are listening, once again, I appreciate that. Just try to get other people to tune in as well, because I can use the audience listeners at this point. But when I have Matt, that actually helps me too. Matt, the music teacher guy. Thanks again. I am signing off for now. This is iWalter.